I'm branded everywhere, so I'm really good, and it's no problem.
Nita, it's like daylight where you are.
It's the lights. I'm at the gas pump.
I'm like, I think we're in the same town, but I'm not sure why.
We absolutely are.
Hey, Kayla, welcome to the call. I love you guys. It is, next weekend is the time change. So.
Is it?
Yeah, not this
time. Next weekend?
The 4th or the 3rd, whatever that weekend.
Whatever the Saturday is.
Yeah, whatever that.
After Halloween.
Technically,
I get to go that day and stay back in the same embassy suite we were just staying at last weekend.
Yeah. All right, guys. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I've got 7:31. Thank you guys for jumping on and jumping on time. You guys are amazing. Super excited. Hey, Miss Brandy, welcome to the call. Tonight, we are going to actually talk about something that's really exciting. If you guys were at LDW, you got to see Brad Harris and Alexis Pelfrey. They were absolutely freaking amazing. And one of the things that Brad talked about a lot was gauging and making sure you're tracking your numbers and being really good at numbers, right, Brandy? Brandy's the boss when it comes to numbers, so that's exciting. So that's one of the things that we definitely want to make sure that we know how to do, and we make sure that we're doing it well so that we're able to grow our business from there. And Mike's going to talk a little bit about that in a little bit, about how or why it's so important to gauge and to track your numbers. But before he jumps into that, I want to talk a little bit about what that looks like, because when somebody, especially somebody like Brad Harris, says, "Are you gauging your numbers?" Some of us are like, oh my gosh, I don't even know where to start with that, like where to start or how to get started on gauging. So we want to answer that question first and what that looks like. And then we'll talk about why it's so important to do that and what it can lead to for you guys. So just a reminder, guys, as you're jumping on, if you're in a place where we can see your beautiful faces, go ahead and turn your cameras on, because we definitely want to see your faces. You can mute your microphones. But if you guys have questions as we're talking, make sure you drop them in the chat. So if you're new to Zoom, down at the bottom of your screen, there'll be a little button that says chat. You can click on that. Make sure you're in the everybody category and drop your questions in there so we can make sure that we're answering those. So I want to go ahead and get started. I think I already know all of you beautiful people, so I will not take a second to introduce myself, but we want to go ahead and start talking about how we gauge, right? So one of the things, I'm going to actually go ahead and share my screen with you guys so that I can show you some of the tools that I use to gauge. All right, so I'm also going to make these documents that we share tonight. I'm going to make them available on the Goal Focused website so that you can download them and use them if you want. But guys, when you are gauging or tracking, there's no difference in gauging or tracking. It's just the verbiage, right? So for tonight's call, we're going to call it gauging. So when you're gauging, we're going to talk about the different things that you gauge, but it's really your personality. Everybody's different, which is totally great. So some people are more of like a paper, I need to write it down. I need to have it on a piece of paper. If you're that kind of person, that's fantastic. What I would recommend for you is to either print out this gauge tracking sheet or create your own, whatever works best for you, or you can literally just use a notepad and write in it every single day, whatever is easiest for you. Some of us are definitely technology people, and we're like, man, I really need a way to track it where I'm not having to carry around a piece of paper. If you're that kind of person, what I would recommend is I do everything through Google because A, it's free and it's really easy to use. But what's exciting about Google, guys, is as you grow your teams, you're able to share your Google spreadsheets with your team, which is going to be really important. And we're going to talk about that in a little bit, as well as to like sharing your gauges with your team. But what you can do is literally download this gauge tracking sheet, put it on a Google spreadsheet, and then track your daily numbers on there. What I love about that is you can have an app on your phone for Google Drive where you just pull it up, and you could be getting ready to go to bed and be like, oh man, I got to put my gauges in. You pull it up, you put your gauges in that night before you go to bed, right on your phone, and you're all set. So either way, there's no right way, there's no wrong way. It's literally whatever works best for you, okay? So for tonight, we're just going to use this. This is how I have gauged my numbers for years, right? Is literally on an easy spreadsheet. I print this out. I actually do both. I have it printed out and I have it on a Google spreadsheet simply because I don't ever know where I'm going to be. I'm either going to have my phone or I might have the paper. I keep it in my calendar so that I can look at it on a daily basis when I have my calendar. So what you'll see here, guys, as you look at this sheet is up here at the top, I would put the month in. So, right, we're getting ready to go into November. So I would start tracking in November. You've got your goal up here of this top line. So for each category, what you would do is put your goal for the month so that you can track what your goal is. And then these numbers that run down along the side correlate with the day of the month, right? So there's 31. And that way, no matter what month it is, you're able to use that same sheet. This is the stuff that I track, guys. It's really up to you what you want to track, but this is my recommendation for you based off of what we've done for the last 10 years. So I track our personal documented volume. I track our organization volume. When I say organization volume for us guys, and everybody's at a different place in the marketing plan, which is fantastic. So if you're just starting out, you wouldn't really need to track your org documented volume until you have supervisors under you, right? So as soon as you have your first supervisor under you, then you want to start tracking your org documented volume. So for us, if you're somebody who has more than 3 lines deep, we only track our front 3. And that's because as you grow in the business to hit your different cuts, it counts on your front 3 levels, okay? So when it says org documented volume, that's what we track. We track our new retail clients. That's for the month, right? So however many new retail clients we get, that's what I'm going to be tracking there. Our new preferred members, that's frontline. So that's who Mike and I recruit as a preferred member. And then new distributors, frontline. So the FL stands for frontline. And then I also track our new preferred members in our front 3 levels and our new distributors in our front 3 levels. Okay, so again, depending on where you're at in the marketing plan, if you're just starting out, you're a new distributor, the front 3 isn't going to matter to you. So you don't even need to worry about that. But if you're somebody who is already recruited, you already have a supervisor or 2 or 3 or several, you definitely want to track those front 3 levels. And then these last 3 columns over here, I leave them blank so I can write in what my daily methods of operation are. So again, if you're new to the business, a daily method of operation is just a way we grow our business. So it's your daily method that you're using to attract people into the business. What we recommend is that you pick 3 and stick with those 3 for 90 days. What that looks like for Mike and I is we do invites, we do referrals, and we do social media. Okay, that's what our 3 daily methods of operation would be. And so what I would track there is, under our goal for invites, we would put how many we want to do. Typically, I said over here, you know, your goal for the month, but under your daily methods of operation, I would do a daily goal. So invites would be a daily goal. Our social media, that would be a daily goal, like how many people I'm reaching out to daily on social media. And then on our referrals, like how many referrals are we reaching out to daily for that. And then you would just track that literally every single day. You would go in, and here's the key, guys. As you're gauging and as you're tracking, it's human nature. If we didn't do what we thought we were going to do, it's human nature and super easy for us to just ignore it, right? What I want you to do is, as you're tracking, if you don't do something or you don't get a new preferred member or you didn't do any invites and you said you were going to do 10 that day, put a 0. You've got to track it. You need to know what you're doing, because as you look back, if you don't know what you did, then there's no way to see where you're going. And Mike's going to talk about that a little bit. So I'll go ahead and turn the call over to you so that you can talk about why they want to gauge and that kind of information.
Yeah, absolutely. So just to kind of piggyback on what she's talking about right there, it's very, very important that, like she said, if you have a goal to do, let's just say 20 flyers a day for Fit Camp, or maybe 30 invites a day for a nutrition club, whatever it is, and you're making that one of your DMOs, your daily methods of operation. If you don't hit the number, no problem. You write down exactly what you did, because she's absolutely right. If you don't have the tracks, you know, you got to make the tracks for your team to follow, right? And as you're growing your business, whether you're new on the call or you've been doing this for a while, how cool would it be to be able to say one day, hey, I'm a global expansion team, and hey team, this is exactly how I got there. These are the numbers I did. This is it. because if you can be honest with yourself and seriously track it, whether it's you're doing the exact number you said or not, and you track it the right way and being honest with yourself, then you're going to be able to show them those tracks that we're talking about to get them where they want to be. Okay. Another thing I would say when we're talking about that, when you're talking about track and engaging, it's always good to have an accountability partner as well. It can be a sideline, it can be an upline, it can be your downline. I'd prefer that it's probably not your downline, just because I don't know. I think it's better if it's like a sideline. So like for me, I might go to Candace Sappington and say, hey, will you be my accountability partner, right? And then that way she has no problem saying, come on, Mike, pick it up, let's go. And I have no problem saying that too. But if I was doing it with a downline, like Kim Lunsford, she's on my downline. If I said, hey, Kim, let's be accountability partner, I might be a little bit easier on Kim, or vice versa. She might maybe lie to me because she might want me to, and I'm not throwing Kim out under the bus. I know she's on the call, so that's why I'm using her name. She might say, I want to make Mike feel good, so I'm going to tell him I did 45 invites today when I really only did 10. You see what I'm saying? But if Kim's working with a sideline, she can probably go, dang, I just got caught up doing something today. I didn't get it. I'm really going to push hard tomorrow, right? And so that's why you want an accountability partner for tracking. And I didn't mean to jump off on that too much, but that's a big, important piece as well. Now, when we talk about tracking, one thing that I always think about, and I always relate stuff to sports, because I used to coach basketball, I used to coach baseball, I did all this different stuff. And so when I was coaching high school basketball, I was always like, at the end of the year, when I knew I had returning players, I would give them assignments to do over the summer. All right, and they had to track it, just like gauges. They had to track what they did. So I had one kid I can remember right off the top of my head. His name was Dylan. He was like a 30% free throw shooter. So every time he got fouled and went through the free throw line, he only hit 3 out of 10 the whole year, 30%, 3 out of 10. I was like, buddy, I want you to shoot 100 free throws a day, and I want you to track it. And I want you to tell me how many free throws you hit each day. And he did. He tracked every day. He shot 100 free throws over and over and over, and he was able to track it. The following year, he was shooting 68% from the free throw line. So just by doing that, he could sit there and say, hey, by me doing 100 free throws a day, I tracked my work. I was able to improve from this to this, right? Now, if he'd have came back and said, hey, coach, yeah, I did what you said and all that, and he was still at 30%, I'd be like, did you really shoot 100 free throws a day? You see what I'm saying? So that's why it's important, all right? So we're going to share a sheet, and I'm just going to kind of do a hypothetical of something that could happen when you're tracking your numbers, right? And we're going to use club invites as an example. And some of you guys work out of a club, some of you don't. It doesn't matter. This is just a hypothetical thing just to kind of give you ideas on how you would be able to transfer that down to your team. So if you look at this, I think everybody should be able to see this. I think we've shared the screen for you to see. This is just a hypothetical scenario for a 90-day plan. And let's just say we're doing 35 invites a day to a nutrition club for 90 days. And by gauging your daily activity, you're able to discover during those 90 days what you could possibly get, right? And maybe some days you only did 28. The next day you made up 42. So it just averaged out 35 a day. Okay, so in this scenario, literally 30 new clients, right? So to get 30 new retail clients, you get 30 new clients, and then from there, 20 of those become preferred members. And this is in a 90-day period, right? And then out of those 20, you could possibly get 6 distributors. And then out of those 6 distributors, you could possibly get 2 supervisors, right? And we're saying hypothetically, this is a scenario that happened in a 90-day plan, right? So we were doing that. And again, I can't stress enough, hypothetical. So it could be you might have to do 50 to get these numbers. You might only have to do 12 invites a day to get these numbers. We're just throwing this out there just so you can see some numbers, right? But not only does it show you how you can get your customers and how you can turn those into distributors, preferred members, and supervisors, but it also, you can take it a step farther and you can say, assuming that you're filling your funnel, all right, with an average of 10 new clients, doing only 84 documented volume. And the reason why I did 84 documented volume is because we all know that sometimes we'll get a client and they might order once and never order again, right? They disappear, they're ghost. And we're like, where'd they go? And then you have other people that's going to order 200 volume points a month religiously, if not more. So just on an average, we'll just say 84 documented volume points a month, right? So month one, what does that look like? So month one with 10 new clients, 840 documented volume. That would be a first cut of DAP. You have to do 500 documented volume points in a month for a cut of DAP, which is a distributor action plan. All right, so you would hit that, and plus, because you did over 500 documented volume, you become senior consultant. So now you're getting your products at 35%, right? The second month, doing the same thing. You get 10 more clients, and your 10 reorder. And again, it's using 84, very low number. That would be 1,680 documented volume points. That gives you your second cut of DAP, and now you're a fully qualified supervisor. Okay, so now you're going to go into the third month getting 50% off all your products, 50% on full retail, and which is super cool, right? And so the third month looks like this. You got 10 more clients. You kept the other clients as well. Now you're at 2520 documented volume points. That's your third cut of DAP. So you qualified for the distributor action program, which is super cool. You get a cool gift, all that stuff. And then that's your first cut of active supervisors. So now by hitting that 2,500 volume points, it's not only the first cut of active supervisor, but now it's also a cut of world team. And you got to do that 4 months in a row to get that. So when you start your second 90 days down there below that, the days you know exactly the number of invites you need to do to continue to hit world team, right? Because you've already laid the tracks in front of you. So you can see this, and this is just us putting it on paper, but you go back to the sheet that Tara showed you a second ago, and that's kind of where those numbers would be in place, right? And so I could go to my team and literally show them the numbers and say, hey, if you want to get to active supervisor within 90 days, this is what I did, and you can do this. I would encourage you to do a few more, especially if the first month you don't get 10 clients or whatever. You always want to bump it up a little bit, and then, but it kind of gives you just a rough guess, right? So the second thing is there. Well, she already cleared it off.
Sorry,
it's no problem. It's just the rest of that. Anyway, and they probably already read it. But the second one down there, it says you know how to teach your team, basically what I said, and your 2 new supervisors. So those 2 supervisors that you got in that top part up there where it says out of the 6 distributors become 2 new supervisors. So now you're teaching them exactly what you did, and now we're doing what we call duplication, guys. And that's huge. When you're doing Herbalife, duplication is so critical in everything you do. And I always say this, just to talk about duplication for a second. And Tara is very, very big on this too. If you're doing something that's not duplicatable, you need to stop doing it. Because if I'm trying to, let's just say I go open a nutrition club, and I've just got nutrition club on the brain because we're talking about invites, and I put like $25,000 in this club. I got big screen TVs all over the place. It looks plush. People are walking in going, whoa, this is awesome. The first person that comes in there thinking about opening a nutrition club and they walk in and see it, they're going to go, there's no way, right? There's no way I can do this. There's no way I can afford this. So it's not duplicatable, right? So everything you do, you want to make sure it's duplicatable, right? And then the last thing there is by your third 90 days, you will be active world team by using this scenario and on your way to get team, right? So that's just kind of in a nutshell how you would kind of see something developing for you. And it could be a little less, could be a little more. It really just depends on the person and the production that they're doing. All right. So do you want to add anything to that, Tara?
Yeah. Or you done?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. So that was great. Guys, what I loved his scenario that he shared with you about basketball, because what's really exciting about that is that's so true with your business. So Jim Rohn always says, make up in numbers what you lack in skill, right? But if we don't know what our numbers are, then we have no idea what we need to make up, right? So Mike and I have been doing the business for 10 years. The number of invites we needed to do at the beginning was way, way, way higher than what we need to do now. And it's not because people are more receptive to us now. That has nothing to do with it. It has everything to do with the practice that we've put in to the business and being able to do a wellness evaluation or be able to talk to people. When we go and do an in-service, that when I did it at the beginning of our journey with Herbalife, I had to do a lot more in-services to get the same results. But the way that you figure that out is by tracking your numbers. So like he said, we do it to So we know what we need to do to hit where we need to be. Because say you're going into January, right? January is the biggest time of the year for us with Herbalife because everybody wants to lose weight and everybody wants to make money. So we go into January, and in January, most of us set super high goals, right? Say I want to do 10,000 documented volume points in January, or 15,000, or whatever it is that you want to do for your goal in January. If I know that that's my goal and I've spent the last 90 days tracking what I did, so I can go back and go, okay, out of X number of invites, I got this many people into the nutrition club. I was able to get this many retail clients. Then I can work backwards from that 10,000 and know exactly what I need to do to hit that goal. And that's not even a question. And then the second thing he said was, absolutely. So your team has tracks to run on. Right? So Amber Wick said that to us 10 years ago, and that has stuck with us ever since, because it's so important to be able to have those tracks to run on for your team and show them where they want to go. So let me check real quick and see if we have no questions, which is awesome. You guys are rock stars. So I assume you guys have learned everything you need to know about gauging and tracking tonight. If you haven't, you still have a couple minutes to drop some questions in there so we make sure we answer those questions for you. But a couple other things that I just wanted to go over with you is we are recording this, so I'm going to upload it to Goal Focus, GOAL Focus.com is the website. You can click on the tab that says Herbalife University. This video will be there. So if you're somebody who wants to listen to it a couple times, totally great, because this is something that if you can perfect, not only will it change your business, but it's totally going to help your team as you grow your team learn to do the same thing, because your team isn't going to track or do gauges if you're not tracking and doing gauges, right? And so like as you get to a level where you're mentoring your team, how are you going to mentor somebody if you have no idea what they're doing? So for example, let's say, Brandy, I'm going to use you as an example because Brad Harris did. So you've got to be incredible. So let's say Brandy comes to me and she's like, oh my gosh, Tara, I want to hit my first cut of meal team in January, right? So I sit down with Brandy and I look at her gauges over the last 90 days. I'm able to look and see what she did so that we can set a plan in January and know exactly what she needs to do to hit that first cut of meal team in January. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. So same kind of thing, that as Brandy starts growing her team and she has somebody come to her and go, hey, I want to hit my first cut of World Team, or I want to hit my first cut of Get, or whatever it is, if they've been tracking their numbers, she will know how to duplicate that. She'll know how to sit down with them and say, okay, here's what you've done over the last 90 days. These are the results you got. So here's what we're going to have to do in January, February, March so that you can hit those cuts. And we can celebrate that pin change with you, which is incredible. You got anything else to add to that?
Well, yeah, Tara, you mentioned earlier Amber Wick. So if you don't know who Amber Wick is, she's the president's team member. She's actually like 40K, which is like 4 times president's team over, something like that.
She's 50K, but yeah.
50K. Okay. So she's been doing it for a while, her and her husband, right? But she is so focused on her gauges, and everybody that works in the nutrition club with her has to do the gauges too. And everybody's different. So Amber might be going out doing 10 invites a day, and then Chad, who's working beside her, might be doing 50 invites a day, and then the next person might be doing 35 invites a day. They put their own number in there depending on what they want to do, and then each week they go over each other's numbers to make sure they're hitting their numbers. And Amber's very, very adamant that, hey, I can't mentor zeros, right? So if you say you're going to do it, let's go out and do it so you can move up the marketing plan. You wanted to get to World Team, this is what we need to do to get you there. These are the numbers it's going to take to get there. Now you've got to produce. You can't go out and just do zeros. If I told each one of y'all to tell me exactly where you want to be in the marketing plan, and I could put a plan together and hand it to you, if you had that in front of you, wouldn't it be so much easier to get up every day, employ yourself, and go out and do it, right? And so that's all we're talking about doing right here, is just start now and start gauging it so you can give that same luxury to your team as you start building your organization, because they're going to need it. Because don't you remember when you first started, right? If you were only a month into the business and you signed up, you're excited because you love the products and all that stuff, and then you're like, holy crap, what do I go do? Well, I don't know what to do. I don't know, how do I get people? You know what I'm saying? But if I said, hey, I'm super excited you're on the team, you're going to be working in the club a little bit, you're not going to be behind the bar right now, but you're going to utilize the club to bring people in. Here's the invites. Let's put this together. and I want you to focus on it straight for 30 days. And you're like, heck yeah, let's go. That's how you start doing it, right? And if you're not tracking it all tonight, no problem. Like I said, let's just start now. And then that way you're going to lay those tracks for your team going forward.
Yeah, 100%. So like he said, don't feel bad if you haven't been tracking. If you've been in the business for a little while, it's no problem. It's really no problem at all. Start today. Start tracking. And don't be like, oh, well, it's the 24th of October. I'll wait and start in November, right? Don't do that. Start now because, yeah, it doesn't matter. You'll have a week to look back on, or you'll have 2 weeks to look back on. Whatever it is, you'll be able to start tracking. So don't wait. Go ahead and start. So like I said, I'll upload this recording to Goal Focused. I'm also going to upload the 2 documents that we shared with you tonight so that you have access to that. If you guys have questions, don't hesitate to reach out to us. And then the only other thing that I wanted to make sure that we said tonight before we got off is last week or a couple weeks ago, we talked about the art of promotion and using the promotions to grow your business. I just wanted to give you guys a quick reminder that we have until the 31st of October to go in and claim your prizes for the 40th anniversary promotion for Herbalife. So just a reminder on that 40th anniversary promotion, you have a bronze, a silver, and a gold qualification. If you hit 3,000 3 out of 4 months from September, October, November, you qualify for the bronze. 3,500, you qualify for the silver, and 5,000, you qualify for the gold. What's really cool about it, guys, is if you qualify gold, you automatically get bronze and silver. If you qualify silver, you automatically get bronze. If you qualify bronze, you automatically get bronze, which is awesome. But what's cool is you go into myherbalife.com. It's already up in the banner. Just click on it. And yeah, absolutely, Caitlin, go for gold. And what's really cool is when you go in to claim the prizes, each category has 4 different prizes that you can pick from. You pick what you want, and you can go ahead and pick all the way up to gold because it doesn't matter where you hit. You can go ahead and say what you want, and you're guaranteed those gifts, which is awesome. And by picking them by the 31st of October, you actually get a 4th prize free as well, which is really cool. So make sure you guys go in and do that. We're super, super excited. We've got like 7 days left in the month. It's going to be incredible. You guys make sure you finish strong. I know everybody's got some big goals. We're here if you need us, and we can't wait to see you guys soon. So have a great night.
Good night, guys. Thanks for jumping on.
Good night.